All right, let's bring in our
Thanks, Elizabeth.
FBI experts now. NewsNation's Tracy Walder is a former CIA officer and FBI special agent. Jim Fitzgerald and Raymond Carr are retired FBI agents who co-host the Cold Red podcast. Great to have all of you here. Tracy, what do you make of this latest note? Again, no proof of life, no proof they have her, and another demand for $6 million, this time in cryptocurrency.
Well, thank you so much for having me, Elizabeth. I'm just going to echo what I have been saying about these ransom notes. I believe they need to obviously be passed to the FBI. There's no question that all of them need to be looked into. You know, it's not up to TMZ or really anyone to decide whether they're real or not. However, I think media outlets need to stop giving them the media attention that I believe these individuals probably want by sending these. Because the problem is what happens, and I think you and I have talked about this before, they get more and more and more, the more public reaction that they get. And then that ties up the investigative resources that they need to be kind of snuffing out legitimate leads. And so that's kind of where I stand on that.
And then before I turn to James and Raymond, very quickly, Tracy, what do you make of Enton's reporting, Brian Enton's reporting that the FBI is in contact with Mexican authorities about the Guthrie investigation? On one hand, it seems like it would make sense, just like, hey, have you seen her? Keep an eye out. Do you know, have you heard anything down there that might be suspicious in nature?
Well, first of all, I agree with Brian in that I do not think that this is a cartel operation. However, I did say on the second day of this investigation that the FBI did need to be talking to their legal attaché office in Mexico, at Mexico City. I think that that is necessary in a case like this, especially when they are this close to the border. I am certain they have gone through Border Patrol videos, all of their electronic surveillance to see if anything pops up. But engaging with Mexican authorities, in my opinion, is something that actually should have been done very early on in this investigation.
James and Raymond, the two of you have been using your vast FBI experience to come up with a profile on who the possible kidnapper might be. What can you tell us about this profile that you've come up with? Either one of you can start, and then whoever doesn't start can continue.
Well, we've kind of broken this down into three sections. We broke it into the pre-offense behavior, the post-offense behavior, prior to the video being shown, and then the post-offense behavior once the video is shown. And when we look at the traits that they've exhibit, the behavioral characteristics, it's the individual's mission-oriented, and it has fantasy-driven behavior. Some of the things that are occurring here, you're looking at online searches that involve restraints and surveillance, practicing routes. They've done some dry runs here. There's a great interest in law enforcement, and in media cases, what the media is doing. They're also hoarding behaviors. In other words, they're collecting bags, containers, tools, gloves. They use prepaid phones, burner emails, and they've been monitoring social media posts obsessively, maybe even the post of Savannah Guthrie herself.
James, what does that tell you about who this might be? And does your profile, do you believe this is connected to Savannah Guthrie? She is a nationally known television morning show host, quite famous, quite well known, quite prominent. Could this be related to her?
Sure. And I believe, Elizabeth, was with you that Monday night after the abduction that Ray and I were on, and the first word I used with you, one of them, was victimization. And it has to look at Nancy Guthrie and every part of her family and friends of the family from there, and the work on concentric circles outward. I'm not blaming anyone in the family, but do they have friends of friends that know about Savannah's mother living there wherever she does? But if I can pick up where Ray left off, the post-offense behavior is important. And this is what people I want them to look at out there. Someone they know who's acting this way now, because his life has changed, some of it by his own doing, some not. He's experiencing observable mental strain, sleep disruption, potential for increased substance use, alcohol or stimulants, over-explaining whereabouts or creating unsolicited alibis, hypervigilance towards police presence, cleaning vehicle interiors repeatedly, disposing of bags, gloves, clothing, sudden deep cleaning of residence, burning or discarding of other items there too. So if someone recognizes this behavior, not all of them are going to match in. Look at the video. If the person has a Tucson connection, even tangentially, call the 800 tip line because the FBI would want to talk to you about this.
This is all fascinating and helpful information. Again, this is behavior people should be, if they're observing this with someone they know in their lives, this might be a sign this person had something to do with this. Tracy, I want to turn to you in the meantime about this, the sheriff talking yet again about how hopeful he is that Google can get video from the other surveillance cameras inside Nancy Guthrie's home. He's explaining how, and he has told me he's not a tech expert, but he's explaining how incredibly complicated and complex this process is. It takes time.
Yes, I mean, that's for sure. It takes time. It can take weeks. It can take months. It can sometimes take years, Elizabeth. That's how difficult it is to get this data. And I think we're in the same position also with the DNA because it wasn't in CODIS. And so I think the problem is now you are having to resort to these other measures that require warrants, that require opt-in procedures. All of those things make it incredibly difficult to, I guess, what he was saying, peel back those layers. And essentially, Google is now having to go back and essentially do this backwards and manufacture this all backwards to get the point of entry of this video. And I think that's going to take a long time if they can even get it at all. I have more promise in perhaps genealogical DNA. That's what I'm really hoping for.
But Tracy, that can also take some time. And we know that the three biggest sites that people put data into, their DNA into, have a policy of not cooperating with police. Is there any way around that?
So yes, and I'm really glad that you brought that up. Actually, you're right. It can take 8 weeks. It can take 12 weeks. It can absolutely take time. So the large sites, right, Ancestry.com, 23andMe, I think those are the ones that you are referencing. You actually have to have a warrant to get that data. And that.
So why aren't they getting a warrant?
So hopefully, in my opinion, I thought when they ran the DNA test through CODIS, they actually should have been obtaining the warrants, in my opinion, to get that genealogical DNA. And I hope that they already have that queued up. My hope is they already have it. The other sites, the sort of lesser known sites that don't contain as much information, actually have police opt-in procedures. So that's going to make it much easier to get the data from there. But you're right, those large sites, it's going to be very difficult. And I really hope they have the warrant queued up.
Yeah, I do too. James Fitzgerald, Raymond Carr, great work on that profile. I'm sure we'll have you back to talk more about that, but those are really key things to look for. Tracy, as always, great to have you on the show. Thank you all so much.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.